Welcome back to this Malden Public Schools video series. In this video, we're going to explore the ways that students can communicate with their teachers within an assignment they're working on in Google Classroom, or about an assignment if they might have a question or want to add a note to something they've turned in. So let's get right into our Google Classroom section. Now here, I'm in the role of a student and I'm going into a class that I'm currently enrolled in. I will go to the Classwork tab and open up my existing assignment that's not due until next week. When I open the assignment up, I have the option to click directly on the file if my teacher has provided one to get started, or if I'd like to start some communication about this assignment, if I tap on View Assignment, it opens up some details about this particular assignment. Off to the right-hand side, we have an option to create private comments from the student directly to the teacher. This is not to be confused with a class comment that a student could write to the entire class, including the teacher. So all private communication takes place on the right-hand side in the assignment details under the actual assignment. So here I'll add a note for my teacher, and I'm sending that through to my teacher. This is a private conversation between the teacher and the student. So as you can see right here, on the right-hand side, the teacher even has the ability to reply with a follow-up comment, and students can have a back and forth. Again, this is about this particular assignment, but it's not in the file itself, and that's another method by which students can communicate with their teacher. So again, from the student role, I will open up the assignment. And in the assignment, when I get working, I have the ability to insert comments as the student in the sidebar in the margin of the assignment. So here I'll put an example of student work. And if the student needs to communicate with their teacher, they might highlight a paragraph, a sentence, or an idea. And there's two options. They can insert a comment, or when a passage is highlighted, the comment field will appear on the right-hand side. So this is a comment from the student to the teacher. How does my intro sentence look? And that's only between the teacher and the student because those are the only two people that have access to this file. If you'll notice as well, because the teacher always has editing rights on a student assignment, when the file is provided ahead of time, the teacher has the ability to communicate back and forth with the student in that particular file. Now, once a student turns in the work, which I'll demonstrate here, so the student is done and they confirm and they can turn in the work to their teacher, they will no longer have the ability to see comments that are inside of the document because they only have viewing status at this point. So you'll notice if I go into the assignment, I can only see my work. I do not have the ability to type on this document any longer, and I can no longer see any comments in the sidebar. If I would like to work on this assignment longer because I still have time before it's due, or if I would like to see any comments, what I can always do is unsubmit the work because it's not due until next week. So I can unsubmit. I'm pulling that back, and now I have editing rights again. If I open that document again, if we give this a moment to load, you'll see that all of the comments will reappear in the sidebar because now from the student perspective, they've pulled the assignment back, they have editing rights. The teacher can continue to edit the document as well and add additional comments. What always persists is the ability to comment about the assignment in the sidebar in Google Classroom. So now that we've thoroughly covered commenting both on the assignment and in the assignment, I'd like to review again the process of submitting and unsubmitting work. Like I just mentioned, when a student is working on an assignment with a future due date, they can turn in their work to submit that to their teacher. There's two important things to keep in mind when they turn in work. The first thing is they will no longer have editing rights on the document, and they will no longer see comments in the sidebar or in the margin of the assignment. When they turn the assignment in, they will get a confirmation page. Would you really like to turn this in? Yes, I will confirm as the student. What's happening now is Google is changing the student's status on this document from an editor to a viewer. They can always comment on the sidebar, I turned in my work. And that is a private comment from the student to the teacher. But if they would like to work on their assignment, they would have to unsubmit that. They can unsubmit back and forth as much as they would like before the due date. If they unsubmit after the due date and then resubmit, the assignment will be coded as late. While students can unsubmit their work, they can also unsubmit, and they may end up turning that assignment in late if they resubmit after the due date. So if you'll notice here, I have an assignment coming up that's due in 2 minutes. If I open the assignment and view the assignment, I have the ability to turn that assignment in. It has been turned in. If I realized I needed to continue to work on that assignment, remember, as soon as it's turned in, the student only has viewing rights. I can always unsubmit. Now I still have a few minutes before the assignment is due, so I can unsubmit. I might open that assignment and continue to work on this. So with this assignment that I turned in prior to the due date and time, pulled back and unsubmitted, worked on that. Now, if you'll notice, I've missed the due date, the date and time, and now the work will automatically appear as missing in my Google Classroom page. I'm still allowed as the student to turn this in, but I have an indicator here. So it's critical if your student is going to submit and unsubmit work that they still turn it in by the assigned due date and time so they don't have that missing tag on any work. Now, if I turn this in, which I will do now after the due date and after the due time, notice it's also being automatically coded with turned in late, and the teacher would get the same notification on their end. So thanks for watching this quick video on exploring the communication process and the process of submitting and unsubmitting work through Google Classroom.